Hello everyone. In today's video we are going to study about the OOPS concept in Python. Okay, it is known as object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. Okay, what is this object oriented programming? In today's video we are going to study about class, objects, okay, methods and constructors. We will create a class, we'll call this class using objects, we'll create methods, and we'll also explain what is the constructors. Okay, let's start. So see, in OOPS we create class using the name class. Okay, let's say we can this class name we usually make in camel case name. What is camel case name? It means like we are using two words, so we don't use space in this. Let's say we are creating a class which is like first class. Okay, so here we are using F in capital and C in capital, so this is known as camel case naming. So we use, this is like convention, so we are using this. And in this class what we will do, we will create, let's say, a variable, okay, like digit is equal to 10. Okay, so what we have done so far, we have created a class and we are creating a variable in it. Okay, so what we can do, we can create a variable, we can create methods, we can create constructors. So first we have created a variable here. Okay, so in this variable what can we do? So if we'll run this much, we'll not get any error. Okay, because we have created a class and a variable, but we are not calling that class. Okay, so to call this class, what can we do? We have to create an object. Okay, so object can be created outside of the class, not within the class. Okay, so let's create an object like object, and to call the class with using this object, what we are doing is equal to the name of the class, that is first class. Okay, and we have to use this parenthesis or round brackets. Okay, now we have created an object. Okay, now using this object, or we can use any name here. Okay, so with this object we can call this variable. So if I'll say object dot digit, and if I'll run this, okay, so what will I get? I will get the value of the digit. Okay, so what we have done, we have created a class here, and the class name is first class. Okay, and within this class we have created a variable. That variable name is digit, and the value we have assigned to this variable is 10. Okay, now we are creating an object. Okay, this we have to create to call any class, we have to create an object. So this object, what class we are calling? We are calling first class. Okay, you can use any object name here. Okay, so I have used object name as object. Now using this object name, we are calling the variable. Okay, so we are getting the output as 10. Now what we can do, we can create a method in it. So what are methods? Methods actually function, they are function actually, but if we are creating any function within the class, it will be called as method. So it will be created using same thing, def. Okay, so let's say we are creating any method, product value. Okay, so like this, and sorry, product values, and I'm saying that print 10 into 20. Okay, so if we'll call this one, this method, let's call this method, what we are calling here, object dot product value. If I'll call this, I'll get error. Okay, I will get an error. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to write here self. I'll tell you what does this self mean. Okay, and now if I'll try to run this, I'll get 200. Okay, 10 into 200. Okay, so what we have done, I'll tell you what is the meaning of this self and what is the use of it. Okay, so we have to give at least one parameter here. Okay, without giving any parameter, if we just make here round bracket, it won't work. Okay, so we have written self. So you can use any word here, but conventionally we are following this self word, so we are using self here. Okay, so we can get the output here. If I want this thing also be printed. So what I can say, print. Okay, so what we have done, we have created a function which is called method. Okay, if we are creating this function within a class. Okay, so what we are writing here, define product value self print 10 into 20, and we are creating an object which is assigned first class, which is our class. Okay, now what we are saying, object dot product values. Okay, so we don't need to give any argument here because we are not giving any parameters here. Let's say if I'll do, I will write here print digit. Okay, so I'll get a error. Why? Name digit is not defined. So what am I doing? I'm creating a variable and I'm calling that variable within the class. Okay, within the class. So if I'm creating a variable and I'm calling the same variable within the class, because you can see this method is in this class. Okay, and I'm using the variable within the class. So in that case we will get error. Okay, so in this case what can we do? In this case we have to use self. Okay, if we are not using self here, we will not get any result. So what can we do? Let's see. We are writing here self dot digit. Okay, in that case we'll get this 10 we are getting because of this print. Okay, and this 10 we are getting because of this method. See what I have what can I do? Okay, see, I will just make this thing not included in my code. Okay, now I'm getting answer 10. Okay, so what I have done, I have created a variable within the class, a method in the same class. Okay, and I'm using in this class that variable. Okay, I'm creating an object assigning the class, this class. Now using this object I'm calling the method of that class. Okay, because if I'll call this method, okay, in this case what I'm doing, I'm using self. Okay, so if I want to use this variable within the class, I have to take permission of the self. Okay, so what I'm writing here, self dot digit, then I'll get the output of it. Okay, so let's see, we modify a little bit more here. What can we do? If I write here self dot c is equal to self dot digit into self dot digit. Okay, what am I writing here? There is a variable and I'm in this variable I'm assigning self dot digit into self dot digit. It means multiply this thing twice. So what I'm using here, self. Okay, so if I have to use this variable, I have to use self here. Okay, so here if I want to do this, what I have to do, I have to call this self dot c, print self dot c. Okay, now if I run this, I will get 100. Okay, why? Because I'm using, if I'll say, let's say I write here 20. Okay, in that case I will get this 20 because of this. If I'll use hashtag, I'll get the answer 400 because of this object. Okay, why? Because in this function or method, what am I writing? Self dot c is equal to self dot digit into self dot digit, and I'm saying that print self dot c. Okay, so and I'm calling same function using this object. Okay, so I'll get the value 400 here. So what we have learned here, we have created a class, we are creating a variable here, we are creating a method here. In this method what we are using self. Okay, you have to give at least one parameter here. Without parameter, if you write anything, it will give us error. Okay, what am I saying? I'm saying that we have to pass at least one parameter if we are making function in the class. Okay, or which is known as method. Okay, which function as a object, this will function as a object. Okay, let's modify this code and try to print something else. Okay, so what am I saying? Okay, let's make another function here. Define product value 1. Okay, here what I'm writing, self a comma b. Okay, now what am I saying? That print a into b. Okay, so and I have created the object. Now what I'm saying, object dot product value 1 parenthesis. Okay, if I run this, what will I get? I will get error. Okay, I will get error here. Why? Because missing two requirement positional argument a and b. I have created a and b here as a parameter I have given, and what I'm saying that print a and b, but what is the value of a and b? Okay, we have not written any value of a and b, so I have to pass two argument I will pass here where I'm calling that method. Okay, what am I saying? I'm saying let's say 10 20. Okay, now if I'll run, I'll get the product of 10 and 20 this. Okay, now see, I don't need to pass the argument for self. Okay, except this self if I'm writing multiple variables here or multiple parameters here. Okay, so I have to pass argument for each parameter which is here, like a b c d e f, whatever it is. Okay, I have to pass same number of argument here. We are not passing any argument for self. Okay, we have already explained what is the meaning of self and how do we use it. Okay, so here we don't need to pass, we have to pass the argument for the each parameter here. Okay, so and if I'll call this, I'll get this kind of answers. Okay, now what can we do? We can create n number of, let's say I'll write here, I will define one more def welcome message. Okay, self, and I want to print welcome to CCAS. Okay, and what am I doing? I am calling object dot message here. Okay, if I run this, I'll get the, because I am not passing any parameter here, so I don't need to pass any argument here. Okay, I'm just saying that print welcome to. Now if you'll say what is the use of this self, we have to pass at least one parameter here. Okay, if you'll not pass this self here, you'll get error. Okay, so this is the way you have to define your method within the class. So we have to, it doesn't necessary that you have to pass self only, you can use any name, but by conventional we are using self here. Okay, so variable, method, how can we use self, what are the parameter, what are the argument. Now we'll see what are the constructors. Okay, let's discuss little bit about constructor. So for constructor, you don't need to make any object, or you don't need to call it. Okay, if you are making any constructor here, if you are constructing any constructor here, it will be called itself. You don't need to create any you don't need to call it using any object. Okay, and the way of creating any constructor, what we have to do, we have to use def and underscore twice, to underscore in it, again underscore. Okay, and you have to pass self here, and that's it. Whatever you say, let's say I will write here print welcome to CCS. Okay, if you'll see, I'm not calling this one. Okay, this is just a constructor, I'm not calling it, I have not done anything here. Okay, and I'm getting the output of it. Rest output I'm getting because of this one. Okay, if I'll see, if I'll say like this, okay, I'll get only welcome to CCS. Okay, what happened if I'll, in that case I'll not get any output. Okay, why am I not getting any output? Because I have to create at least object, and I have to assign that class to the object, but I don't need to call this constructor. Okay, if I'll run this code, I will get the output of this constructor. Rest are variable and methods. Okay, for variable and methods, I have to use that object and call them. Okay, so in this video, we have studied about the what are classes, what are variables within the classes, how can we define the methods, and what is the use of self, what are parameters, how can we give argument to the parameters, okay, and what are constructor, what is the use of it, okay. In next video we will study about the other concepts of OOPs. Thank you.